Hello, everybody. So this is our first podcast, switching to podcast now from PowerPoints, about the Maya. And my little byline there for the Maya is cultural juggernauts. And for me, that's a good way to think about the Maya. I don't think we would remember the Maya today if they weren't culturally impressive. There's a reason we were talking about the Mayan calendar last year, and we're happy the world didn't end. But the Maya really brought a lot to the table in terms of culture, science, art, architecture, really everything they did, they excelled in. And so for me, I know there might be some Call of Duty or X-Men fans. You might have another view of the word juggernaut. But really for me, the Maya were cultural juggernauts. A juggernaut being something that cannot be stopped, that is just so powerful. And their culture really was always moving forward most of the time and progressing and kind of always going to the next level. So once again, we should start with geography, and we should understand where the Mayan world was in this period. And the Maya, to extend from where we've already come, the groups that we've already spoken about, they are to the east of the Olmec. Remember, the Olmec were nestled right there in the center of Mesoamerica, and Olmec culture is going to spread both east and west, east to the Yucatan and west later towards the kind of Aztec areas. For now, though, we are going to focus on the Maya, which means that we're going to spend our time for the next week or so in and around the Yucatan. The first Mayan settlements are starting below the Yucatan, down there along the Pacific coast in that part of Mexico. Our classic era Mayan settlements are kind of in the Guatemalan highlands, moving up the peninsula. That's Tikal, Palenque. And finally, we will make our way all the way up to the northern Yucatan for the post-classic era. And here you see cities of Chichen Itza and Mayapan. And this will be the time that Apocalypto is actually depicting, the post-classic era. And two more maps I think will help us to kind of begin and really understand the Maya here. This one goes back to Teotihuacan. It shows you the kind of sphere of influence of Teotihuacan. This is a city that absolutely impacted its neighbors, not just in the immediate vicinity, but hundreds of miles away. Teotihuacan was absolutely a powerful city. And if you remember the years for Teotihuacan, it was in existence from about 100 BC to about 750 AD. And if you see that sphere of influence there, you notice that it crosses into the Mayan territories. So when the city of Teotihuacan falls in 750, that's going to have repercussions, reverberations throughout Mesoamerica and into the Mayan world. And actually, many people today believe that kind of the fall of some Mayan cities in the classic era, which we'll come back to, had to do with the fall of Teotihuacan. But I want you to understand that just because we dealt with these groups separately, it doesn't mean they weren't connected. Teotihuacan had big links to the classic era Mayan civilizations. And our final map here that I'm going to use to start explaining the Maya is more of a modern map. It has our modern countries on it. And that's important for one basic reason. Today, people absolutely profit off of the Maya. Countries make money from the Maya. Whether it's charging people kind of admissions to see pyramids, museums, whatever, there's money to be made off the Maya. So I think it's important to understand what countries today can kind of claim Mayan heritage, Mayan ancestry. Definitely Mexico, obviously. The Yucatan there, much of that is in Mexico. Certainly Belize. Guatemala, though, as well, has certain Mayan sites that today are popular tourist attractions. Honduras, although most of the modern country was not part of the Mayan world, the city of Copan is today in modern Honduras, and that was an important Mayan site. El Salvador also we can really include, but I hate to say it, El Salvador is not banking as much off of these Mayan cities as others. They didn't have any major sites there, and so El Salvador is left really wishing that maybe its borders were a little different or that some Mayan cities could be kind of discovered within their borders, because honestly, guys, today, history equals money for some people. And here is just a final intro slide to kind of get us going in terms of the Maya. The Mayan calendar. There's going to be a lot of questions about that. There always is. Its beginning has a specific date, and we can kind of link the date of their calendar to our calendar, and that date is August 11th, 3114 BC. We do not know if there was actually Mayans around back then, but they chose this date to begin their calendar, to begin counting, and Mayan time counts forward from that date. So, what we do know is that there were Mayans quite a long time ago, around 2000 BC, our earliest settlement period. And that's the pre-classic period, and that lasts until about 250. The Classic period, that's the period where the Mayans kind of become Mayans, where they have their impressive achievements in art, architecture, writing, math, things like that. It's the Classic era Maya. And that's from 250 AD to 900 AD. And that era is brought to a close in part due to the fall of Teotihuacan in 750. It took a while, but finally the repercussions moved across Mexico and impacted Mayan cities. Our last period of Mayan development is the post-classic period. And kind of at this point the Maya had plateaued to some degree. And they kind of ride out on the accomplishments and achievements of the classic era Maya. This period is different. It's defined by more violence and wars between the cities. And really, this era is put to a close by the arrival of the Spanish. So either way, we're going to have three distinct periods of Mayan development. The first one, they're learning from the Olmec, learning what it means to kind of form societies, build cities. The classic era Maya, they're there. They're doing it. They're making achievements in art, architecture, etc. And the post-classic Maya, these are the guys that are riding on the coattails of the classic Maya, kind of plateauing and doing their best to hang on. And really, their whole world is certainly thrown for a loop when the Spanish arrive.